Welcome back to the Lords of Lore Podcast Network. This is an episode of Ruminations where Luka and I ruminate over a book. We do a little review here, spoiler free and spoiler friendly, or I don't know, spoiler full. Yeah, this is a better way to say that. And today, if you've clicked on this video, you no doubt know we were talking about The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart.
Oh, you bought it. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, that is just a fantastic cover.
It is so good. So good.
And I think from here on, we should tell people why we chose to read the books we're picking.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you chose this one, so.
Right. And the reason why, speaking of the cover, is because I actually saw the cover to the sequel to this book, The Bone Shard Emperor. I guess that's a little bit of spoilers, but not too much. Again, I saw that first before I even read this. And that's just a gorgeous cover. Mm-hmm. And I think I sent it to you right away, actually. It was like, yo, check this out. And then I was like, so what is this about? And then I got this on Audible, which I'm very glad I did. I love owning physical books and reading physical books, but this Audible experience was something new and fun. And so, yeah, that's how we ended up talking about it. I enjoyed the book so much, I thought we should talk about it on the show. So, yeah. So I guess, yeah, we'll get into our spoiler-free review first. So if you're listening on audio, this might be a longer sort of disjointed episode, not disjointed, but might be some behind the scenes you'll be privy to. But if you're watching here on YouTube, this will be our spoiler-free. So we'll start with you, buddy. Can I get your initial thoughts before reading the book, and then what your overall thoughts on how you enjoyed it?
So before going in, I also had seen the Bone Shard Emperor cover. I actually saw it like a couple weeks before you sent it to me. I saw it on a YouTube video of like really cool fantasy covers. And I thought it looked amazing. I knew nothing about it. So like, yeah, going in, I was completely fresh. So I had like no idea I didn't even read the synopsis of it before diving in. Having finished it, I have to say I very, very much enjoyed it. Yes. Especially the writing style of having 5 POV characters. And then I thought what was interesting was having 2 of them be first person and 3 be third person. So yeah, the 2 main characters, Lynn and Jovis, we see their perspectives first person, and the other 3 characters we hear them from third person. Just a bit about the setup, like spoiler free, just very over the top. I mean, yeah, like bird's eye view type perspective. It follows Lynn as our first POV character. She is the daughter of the Emperor of, what is their empire called?
The Phoenix Empire.
The Phoenix Empire, yes. Yeah. She is. So right off the bat, we learn that she has troubles with her memories.
Right.
And her father is very invested in her regaining her memories. And pretty much the first chapter is her being quizzed on what she can remember. Mm-hmm. And so her setup story is that she would like to inherit his throne, just very general. That is her setup. Jovis is a smuggler who is looking for his lost wife. Again, very simple, don't want to spoil anything. And yeah, so those are our 2 main characters. And I honestly thought they were both just very, very well written. The world building is extremely cool. The magic system is unique and interesting. And I loved it because it draws on like essentially just pure computer science, like programming languages in its
I have that
execution.
Same note written down. Yeah, reminded me of like programming Scratch. I don't know if you took computer sciences in high school.
Yeah.
But the Scratch program and just algorithmic, like deductive reasoning.
Yeah, and
like
it has conditions.
Yeah.
Conditional statements. Like orders can be overruled. So essentially, to just give a broad overview of the magic system, it's called Bone Shard magic. And I believe only Lynn and the Imperial line know how to use it.
Right.
And essentially what it is, they create constructs out of parts of animals, like organic constructs, and then embed these bone shards, which have commands written into them. and they embed those bone shards into the constructs. And whenever a construct needs to make a decision, it essentially runs through its algorithm of bone shards to decide on a course of action.
Yes.
Which is just like a super, super interesting magic system that kind of blends like our own biological knowledge with like our knowledge of algorithms and
AI, yeah.
And like fantastical world.
Yes.
So I loved it. I loved the magic system. The world building also, I think, is very maybe not unique, just interesting. Like having the like I'm talking about the physical geography of the world with like a world of islands.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen like I'll try to find it here in the book real quick, but also the colored version of this map. It's by someone named man, I hope I don't butcher this name. Give me 1 second here to pull it up. Charis Loki or Loki, CharisLoke, last name. One of the most gorgeous maps I've ever seen. And as you're saying, the empire sort of spans over a group of these islands. I'll hold it up here. Might be tough to make out on camera for audio listeners. I apologize for this, but yeah, just one of the most absolutely gorgeous maps I've ever seen. Very, very simple, but just very beautiful in that simplicity. And yeah, I think I'm going to order. I'm on a website right now that sells prints of these that go towards this illustrator or this artist. And so I'm definitely going to buy a print of this because it's just really cool. But yeah, it takes place spanning across all these different islands that all have sort of kind of like different subcultures among them. And just like the communication and transportation, different aspects of it that go into having an empire that works like this is really cool. Again, like you're saying, the world building is fantastic in that way. And it's tough to do, I think, when it's spanning over, instead of being like provinces or like cities, we're talking about like islands that are completely isolated from each other. And so when you get into things like fables or like legend, it's cool to see where the deviation occurs, or like the game of telephone sort of goes. Yeah.
And what's super interesting about the islands is that they're floating islands. So they're not stationary. They move around the world. And
yes,
they have to like constantly calculate where islands will be for like travel purpose, which just to me is terrifying. Like imagine being in the open ocean, be like, I hope that island is where I calculated it to be. Otherwise I'm going to die.
Yeah. Oh, which definitely comes up in, a lot in this story. But yeah, I think let's go into just maybe our score we would give it. And any recommendations you have for people who are interested in it.
So yeah, just an overall score for it. I'd a strong 8 out of 10 for me, I think. Like I wouldn't call it perfect, but I very much enjoyed it. And once I got into it, I was like all the way in.
Yeah. I think I would say the same as that. I'd probably go a little bit higher just because I enjoyed the audiobook. I think for me that was, I don't know if that's a unique thing with multiple. It's definitely rarer, but for me, it was the first time I've heard it with multiple narrators. And I just thought it was really cool and really highlighted the difference between these characters. And there's a lot in there, like subtle references or clues where you can pick up on things based off the way it's narrated. So I think for that alone, it sort of elevates the score of this book. I think I would give this the Lords of Lore masterclass stamp. Definitely recommend on our end.
Absolutely.
Cool. And again, I can't speak any higher of the audiobook. I mean,
the narration is honestly fantastic. Like the multiple narrative, and honestly, once you said, like, it reminded me of a chapter at the very end where we meet one character in a different character's POV.
Yes.
And we hear like the narrator speaking from the point of view of a different character. And it's just like I thought it was like a nice touch, like an interesting touch.
Yeah. And the way like they hear each other's voices differently. It's super cool. But yeah, absolutely would recommend, and you should check it out. Make sure you also check out the Lords of Lore podcast. We're every Tuesday. You can find us talking about something very specific in fantasy and sci-fi. You can also catch Unabashed, where we do interviews about very specific or sometimes niche properties or IPs. So yeah, check out our channel. We're on YouTube there, Lords of Lore, and you can find us anywhere on podcasts. Follow us on social media. Everything will be tagged below. Thanks for checking out our spoiler-free review. And if you actually have completed this book, check out our spoiler-heavy review that we'll be getting into right away.